We have all been there. You've got this gorgeous, super architectural snake plant, the beacon of low-maintenance greenery, and then one day you look over and it's just sad, drooping. Well, if that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to decode what your snake plant is trying to tell you and figure out how to get it standing tall again.
Okay, let's just dive right in. And a great place to start is with this key insight from horticulturist Linda Langelo. That droop? It is not a sign that you failed. It's a message. Your plant is actively trying to tell you something is off in its world, and if we can just learn to speak its language, we can solve the whole mystery.
So, first things first, the drooping itself isn't the real problem. It's actually a clue. It's just the most obvious sign that something deeper is going on with our plant.
Yeah, think of it like this. When the plant is under stress, its internal structure just can't hold up those heavy, beautiful leaves anymore. They lose their strength, they lose their rigidity, and they start to flop over. So our first job is to play detective and figure out what's causing that stress.
Now, the good news is there's a pretty short list of the usual suspects. We're going to walk through these 5 main culprits, one by one, starting with the most common, to help you crack the case of your very own drooping plant.
All right, first up, we have the 2 biggest offenders in pretty much any houseplant mystery, water and light. I mean, if you can get these 2 things right, you are more than halfway there for sure.
This is, without a doubt, the #1 mistake people make with snake plants. As horticulturist Justin Hancock puts it, when the roots are just sitting in soggy soil, they literally start to drown and begin to rot. And those rotted roots, they can't pull up water and nutrients anymore, so the plant basically starts to starve from the bottom up. And that's what causes the leaves to go all soft and collapse.
So the fix is to resist that urge to water it all the time. Snake plants are from arid regions. They actually prefer to be on the dry side. The finger test is going to be your best friend. Just poke your finger an inch or 2 into the soil. If you feel any moisture at all, just wait. Don't water it yet.
Next up is light. And this is a really common trap. We all hear that snake plants can tolerate low light, but that does not mean they thrive in it. If you stick it in a dim corner, the leaves are going to stretch out, getting all long and leggy as they search for a light source. And all that new growth, it's weak, it's flimsy, and it just can't support its own weight.
The fix here is super simple. Just find a spot for your plant that gets plenty of bright but filtered sunlight. Like near an east-facing window or maybe a few feet back from a south or west-facing window. That's usually the perfect spot to encourage strong, compact, and most importantly, upright growth.
Okay, so what if you've checked your watering schedule and the light seems totally fine, but your plant is still drooping? Well, our investigation now has to go deeper, literally. It's time to check out what's happening below the surface. You might have to be a little brave here and gently slide the plant out of its pot. Now, take a good look at those roots. What you want to see are firm, light-colored roots, like on the left. But if you see what's on the right, dark, mushy, maybe even smelly roots, that's root rot. Or if you see this dense, tangled mess of roots circling the pot, that means it's root-bound and it's just desperate for some more space.
For either one of these root problems, repotting is your answer. For a root-bound plant, it's as easy as moving it to a slightly larger pot. But if you're dealing with root rot, this part is critical. You've got to gently trim away the dead, mushy roots and get rid of as much of that old, waterlogged soil as you can before giving it a fresh start.
But what if the roots look healthy too? Okay, then we need to start looking for some outside invaders. The final clues in our mystery usually involve pests or sudden changes in temperature.
You'll want to check the leaves really closely, especially right where they meet the stem. Pests like these, well, they're like tiny vampires. They suck the sap right out of the plant. And over time, this just drains the leaves of their vitality, causing them to weaken and, you guessed it, droop.
So to fight back against these pests, a good horticultural oil is often the best way to go. It's super effective and it's safe for the plant as long as you use it correctly. Just make sure you follow the instructions on the label to protect your plant's leaves.
And finally, let's talk about temperature. There is a specific danger zone for snake plants, and that number is 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 10 Celsius. If the temperature drops below that, the water inside the leaf cells can actually freeze and burst. This causes permanent damage and makes the leaves go all limp.
So the solution here is all about location, location, location. Keep your plant away from drafty windows and doors, especially during the winter. And hey, if you like having your snake plant on the patio in the summer, just make sure to bring it back inside before those chilly autumn nights start setting in.
Okay, we've identified the culprits. Now for the most important part, the recovery plan.
Let's talk about how to get your snake plant back into fighting shape.
So if you've determined that you need to repot, here are the simple steps. First, don't go for some huge pot. Just 1 to 2 inches wider is perfect. Be really gentle when you're taking the plant out, clean up those roots if you need to, and then settle it into its new home with some fresh, well-draining soil.
Now, what do you do about the leaves that are already drooping? Well, Justin Hancock has this brilliant tip. For a really subtle fix, you can use a stake and some clear fishing line to gently hold them up. Or if you want to get a little more creative, you could go the decorative route and use something like a small tomato cage as a kind of stylish support system while the plant gets its strength back. So there you have it. You now have the complete toolkit to be a plant detective. By checking the water, the light, the roots, and the temperature, you can decode those distress signals and give your plant exactly what it needs. You've officially learned the language of the drooping leaf. So the only question left is, what else are your plants trying to tell you?